In Red Riding Hood versus Robin Hood, we catch up with Brittany Waters, aka Red Riding Hood, as she's gearing up to take down a murderer. Now, the murderer in question that she's planning to take down is actually Robin Hood due to a misunderstanding that occurred some time ago, but Brittany doesn't know that. All she knows is that Robin Hood is a murderer that has killed some people with arrows, and then she allegedly robbed a bank before she proceeded to disappear. Now, when we catch up with Robin, aka Robin Hood, she's actually on a farm, collecting eggs, milking cows, and shoveling shit. Robin now lives the farm life, as a couple months ago, she was actually in the midst of leading a rebellion against corrupted kings and queens. But now she's living on a farm, but little does she know she's being hunted by Red Riding Hood. When Riding Hood finally catches up with Robin, she observes her from a distance riding horses. Now this bitch Red Riding Hood is actually kind of a savage because not only is she a master assassin, but she also has dominion over animals in a way. So Red Riding Hood proceeds to take control of the horse and makes Robin's horse start flipping out. Now right before Robin's about to be trampled by the horse, one of Robin's friends comes out and Red Riding Hood immediately stops as she doesn't want to involve any innocent people. So for now, Red Riding Hood lets Robin go. But Robin feels like something's kind of off. Nevertheless, she can't quite put her finger on it. Either way, Robin makes her way to the city as she does have an apartment in the city. Now, as she's in her apartment minding her own fucking business, Red Riding Hood proceeds to bust in out of nowhere and tries to shank this bitch. But what Red Riding Hood doesn't realize is this bitch Robin is also a master assassin who has led rebellions against kings and queens, who has went toes with orcs, and who has went up against the Queen of Spades. So it's pretty fair to say that Robin Hood knows her shit. But unfortunately, Robin is caught off guard, so she's forced to make a tactical retreat. Now, as Robin is trying to get the hell up out of there, Red Riding Hood is on her ass, and she's in hot pursuit. So in a fit of desperation, Robin runs through her neighbor's house, which happens to be a crazy cat lady. Now, Robin does manage to pick up a knife in order to defend herself, but running into this house turns out not to be a good idea, as Red Riding Hood is like, I'll do you one better, and she simply takes control of all the cats in the house and proceeds to maul Robin. Now eventually the fight spills outside, where Robin and Red Riding Hood start duking it out. Now eventually Robin is starting to get the upper hand, or at least she thinks she is, until this bitch Red Riding Hood throws her into a fucking car, because as it turns out, this bitch Red Riding Hood is actually crazy strong. But eventually, Robin does manage to get to her car, where she retrieves her bow and arrow in order to even the odds. Now, unfortunately for Red Riding Hood, this whole fight is way more of a pain in the ass than she thought it was going to be. Especially considering the fact that Robin Hood is now equipped with a bow and arrow. So in order to make a tactical retreat, Red Riding Hood takes control of a murder of crows that proceeds to attack Robin. Now this works as Red Riding Hood is able to make a tactical retreat, but only for a moment. As Red Riding Hood is now at her house trying to regroup, Robin pulls the reverse Uno card and busts into her shit and proceeds to attack her. Now as these two bitches are duking it out, Robin notices article clippings on Red Riding Hood's walls. These articles go on to talk about the archer that has been allegedly killing innocent people, as people keep getting found lit up with arrows. Based off this wall of information, Robin comes to the conclusion that this whole thing is simply a misunderstanding. Now at this point, Robin Hood is trying to reason with Red Riding Hood, but Red Riding Hood is not hearing any of it, and Red Riding Hood proceeds to sick a wolf on Robin. Now luckily, Robin Hood managed to get free long enough to tackle Red Riding Hood out of the window as the fight now spills onto the street. Robin Hood proceeds to use her bow and arrow to impale Riding Hood with an arrow in order to slow her down. Now this really pisses off Red Riding Hood, so Red Riding Hood proceeds to turn into a wolf so she can literally go beast mode on this bitch. Now as Robin Hood sees this, she proceeds to try and get the hell out of there, but Red Riding Hood is on that ass once again. As Robin is trying to retreat, in a last-ditch act of desperation, she runs in front of a bus in order to get away from Red Riding Hood. Now this ends up working because as Red Riding Hood is in hot pursuit, she subsequently gets hit by the bus, and that reverses her transformation as she ends up in the hospital as a result of that. Now as Red Riding Hood is in the hospital making a speedy recovery, she gets visited by none other than Robin. Upon seeing Robin, Red Riding Hood prepares for a fight, but Robin is quickly able to explain the situation to Red Riding Hood, and luckily, these two ladies are able to come to an understanding. To be continued.